ING and also Nordea for speaking. So now you see a different view. These were customers. So now we are seeing how we as a vendor see this. So actually what I see, and I'm covering whole Europe for IBM, what we see in the field, there are always leaders like Nordea or ING, but there are also customers, especially in other industry where they don't have any regulation, which they have to deal with, like BSD2, which are really searching for use cases. So what I'm talking about is a little bit what we can help to find use cases as IBM, but how to address the challenges. What are the challenges we face, as Gunnar said correctly? So you always are onboarding more than people than expected. So how you actually have a quota management, how you can really limit the transactions they are doing so they don't bring down your backend systems. And I also say about APIs. So they have changed our world as we have seen, and I fully agree to ING. So you have to change the perception. So an API is actually driven by the customer. So what can you as a company do for the customer? For instance, here a sample which I've put on. So you're going on a portal, mobile app, used cars. So when you are doing that, you need a lot of back-end services. So you need maybe because you don't have enough money, you are going to your bank, you need an insurance. And so what they are building, so you can benefit of this mobile app or desktop app because they are allowed and they are doing what we are mentioning as social login. So you log in with your Facebook ID, with your Google ID, LinkedIn, whatever. But immediately when you're logging in, this platform, so the service provider, the mobile, knows everything about this person who is logging in. So for instance, you are going to make a used car. So they log in. So you are adult. I'm Peter. I have 3 kids. I'm living in Vienna. I'm looking for a Volvo XC90. So what does it mean? The bank knows what the car will cost. They know immediately what you have on your bank account. The insurance knows, okay, this is a family. He's a father, has 3 kids, he's looking for a decent car. So I can provide immediately, based on this information, I can provide a tailored credit, I can provide a tailored insurance. So this means for the API provider, so bank or insurance industry, they are really interested to work with such third parties because they get additional information, because they get a free channel. This is a real sales channel. And for the third-party provider, it's interesting to work with APIs from an API provider because what they immediately can get, first of all, they can really collect all these margins because they are acting as a trader, and they also can now provide real tailored service and can really accelerate the sell. So in this API economy, it means that based on this infrastructure, based on this economy, the API provider has to make sure that he's targeting the right information to the right service provider. And the service provider, the third-party provider, or API developer or API consumer, they are interested to work with the third parties because they now have an additional sales channel. They also have really broaden their geographic reach, but also their customer reach. So when you are starting with such an API economy, so there are always, as I said, some people which say, okay, I have in the banking, I have BSD2, there is a compliance case, I need to basically provide 2 functionalities as an open API. So it's access to accounts, it's payment initiation, then I'm done. So these are the ones which say, okay, I have a defensive strategy, and based on this defensive strategy, I'm really offering what I'm obliged to do. On the other hand, we have the leaders, and which like Nordea, which say, okay, I want to do more than just what I'm obliged to. I really want to have an open banking, an open ecosystem. This can be true for insurance, this can be true for the retail business, this can be true for every industry. There is a part which says, okay, I'm doing the minimum, so I'm just doing marketing so that everybody knows I'm existing. But the others are saying, no, I want to reach out and build an ecosystem to reach out to the market, to get new sales channels, to provide new, to get reach, geographical reach, and also to provide access for people which I usually don't access. So these are the strategies, which is a corporate strategy, which has to be defined from the beginning. As we heard, so there is always a starting point and say, okay, what are we doing? What is our strategy? And based on this strategy, then you can define what are the goals. Then you have to define the new roles. In your company, you have the developers, they're developing the programs. But when you are moving into an offensive strategy, you have to have somebody who is kind of an API product manager, who says, okay, I have these services in my company. So first of all, to discover those services. What are the services which my company can offer? And out of all of these services, what he now has to do is, basically this API product manager has to develop these APIs into a viable product, into a product which the market wants, which the market is which the market is willing to pay for. Because API economy also has the sense to monetize those products, to monetize those APIs. So if we look at companies like shipping companies, DHL or UPS or whatever, what they are actually doing, they provide a service for track and trace. The information comes from their internal systems. So what they say, okay, track and trace, you usually type in this tracking number, then you're going to the portal. But now if you're turning around and you are saying, okay, from track and trace, I'm ordering something at Amazon or any other bookshop, and they are providing you the service, they are consuming your APIs in order to provide a better service. They give you direct access to the track and trace. So what companies are doing now and say, okay, I'm providing services for this third party. They are using my resources, so I want to monetize on these APIs. So the API product manager really has to think about what is in the market. It's usually marketing people. And then we have the internal people, which are basically developing these APIs based on the business needs. So it's either a bottom-up approach. So what are the APIs we have? What are the products? Or a top-down approach or inside-out approach, where the product manager says we have to build these APIs based on market needs. Then you have the people inside your company, because it's a complete new platform. It doesn't have anything to do with traditional IT. What you are actually doing in this space is they operate this platform. And then we have the third-party providers, where you have this nice portal, like for Nordia, nordiaopenbanking.com, where you look at this portal, you see all these APIs, you are subscribing to these APIs, and you as a developer are consuming these APIs. You want to consume them to build a product which the people need and which the people want. So what we have done from IBM, because we have now tons of customers, we first of all make a garage offering. So it's a Bluemix Garage or IBM Garage offering. But we also have the sites where you can just click. I've hidden them with some links. And you can, when you download this presentation from the conference site, you just click and then you can identify use cases based on your industry. So we really have a vast information now, and we are collecting them and publishing them. So once you have done, you have set up your strategy, you have defined and say, okay, this is what I want to deliver. The next thing is to think about the challenges. what these APIs will bring. First of all, when we look at these external facing portals, so it's a real branding issue. So it must be known to the external side that this is an API developer from Nordea or from ING. So it must be possible to really have a portal which is internal, which is multi-tenant. So there are several issues on that. I will not go into details, but it must be possible to make it corporate standard, to make it a corporate site. Then once you are developer onboarding, so you need a support, as we have heard from Gunnar, in 372 hours, then you have 700. You have to support them. You cannot deal with every call and say, okay, this is a new customer, so you have to make an automatic onboarding. They have to subscribe to this platform. You have to approve them. So these are all things which you have to think about. How do you deal with it? In case of a banking, we just discussed, so in the break, third-party providers. So there's this payment initiation. So you are doing this third-party providers. They initiate a payment. Instead of doing the real payment, they are putting on their own account. Who is responsible for this third-party provider that he is legally entitled to? So these are things you have to think about. It's also a legal issue. How to onboard, whom to onboard, how to support them, how to inform them of the life cycles. So you have an API version 1, then you have a version 2. Version 1 is retiring, version 2 is coming out. So you have to deal with all these life cycles and inform the community, the third-party providers. And then once you have done this, and then you are onboarding them, they are calling your APIs. So you have to scale, because if they are waiting 1 minute for a call, they never will connect to your platform. They will turn to another one. So it means you have to scale to serve them properly. And properly means secure, it means fast, it means scalable, and you have in parallel govern your internal IT, because you still will connect to your internal applications. So this means that it has to be an agile platform, it has to integrate into your existing platform, and it has to provide all these proper security enhancements. So what does it mean by that? So if somebody logging on his iPhone on a cars.com, he's usually using the different credentials. Yes, he uses Facebook, social ID, he uses open authorization. There are several things out in the marketplace. There are some standards emerging, but there are still several standards. You don't have time to change your internal ID. This means that you have to have something which translates all these credentials from these new standards to these internal standards. So in order to address all of these challenges, we as IBM have this product which is called IBM API Connect. And this API Connect basically addresses these architectural issues, so that you have developer portals which are multi-tenant possible. You have a management server which can deal with different entities, with different gateways. And you have an enforcement item. So in our solution, it basically has 3 parts. And for developers, it also has its own development environment. So it's based on Node.js. So you can have this platform also for creating Node.js, so JavaScript code. So you can create it graphically, you can create it with line commands. So there are several possibilities. As I said, will not go into detail. But this is basically the platform, one management node, and it's scalable. You can do as many API gateways as you want. So it scales really out and it scales up. And furthermore, you can deploy this not only in a cloud environment, And by cloud environment, I mean IBM cloud, I mean Google cloud or Azure or whatever. Yeah, so you can deploy it on every cloud. But you also, as a strategy, can install it on-premise. So we still serve this traditional on-premise installation. So, and we also are able to mix and match. Yeah? So we also have a hybrid approach that you say, okay, the portal will be on the cloud, but my gateway will be in front of my application backends. And this also is really true not only for technical implementation, also for license management, that we really can mix and match clouds from IBM, from third parties, but still have the same infrastructure, really interoperable between all these different deployment platforms. And this is true actually for the runtime, for the portal, for the management node, but also for the gateway. Another item is how to integrate it, and very often I'm challenged on this. How can we integrate this new platform, API development, in our existing life cycle? So this means you have GitHub, you have Atlassian, you have all types of plan, track, support tools, you have open source. So every developer uses his own. But still, you have to have one platform where you really build the code, publish it, register it, test it, so that in production you can be sure it's only compliant code. Compliant to your company strategy. That it connects to your LDAPs where your security information is. So, and we provide all of these interfaces to really interact with your existing environments based on what you have. So as I said, so we can discuss always about details how this is done. So, and when we have the challenge now and we have this interoperability, so this is the complete picture. So you have a systems of record where you extract your data, you have your gateways, you have your cloud environments, regardless whether it's an IoT, Internet of Car. So we have a lot of companies from the IoT, like Peugeot or others, which are Toyota, Ford, which are using our platform for the connected car environment, where they communicate to the cloud so they don't have to build their infrastructure. Then you can, from the cloud or any third-party cloud, you can connect in a secure way to your on-premise data center. And as I said, when you are developing in the cloud, you still can transfer the code on-premise or vice versa or in a third-party cloud. So these are the challenges we address. This is the architecture and the philosophy behind that, what we are serving. So I'm right on time. Yeah, thanks, Gunnar, for the 2 minutes. Yeah, so thanks.
Can I have some